what you want to sit on the end.
So we call this Children's Shabbat, and it's celebrated all over the country, and it's to remind us of some of the needs and the issues that we have to take into mind and work on to protect children, especially the most vulnerable. We love our children that we have in our homes, and we protect them with everything we have, but there are many out there who need our help and our assistance. God of generations, God of new beginnings, children are your promise of tomorrow, made in your image, a reflection of your divine love. Teach us to raise our children worthy of this sacred trust of life. Sustain us and our children in health and love. We are thankful for the beauty of our lives and the ability to bring new life. We are thankful to all those who help to raise our children in love. We now begin our service by turning to the kindling of the Shabbat candles. Call up Josh and Marcia on page 120, 121.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And now as we turn to the Kiddush on page 123, I invite up Saskia to lead us in the Kiddush. We rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodshon, b'ahava uvratzon, hinhilanu zikaron ma'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom tevilah l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziyat mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta, yotanu gidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabat kodshecha, v'yahava uvratzon, inhaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Amen.
Chayim. You may be seated, and we will turn together to page 126. Together, I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to love her, to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. We turn now to page 129 as we join in the singing of Ki Eshmera Shabbat towards the bottom of the page.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la
prepare to sing Lecha Dodi, let's pause to reflect the words of comfort and promise in the third verse. This is from a different translation than the one we have. Holy city, majestic, banish your fears. Arise, emerge from your desolate years. Too long have you dwelled in the valley of tears. God will restore you with mercy and grace. This evening, as we sing, may the words of our prayer for the children and families throughout our nation who live in fear with the desolation of poverty and in the valley of tears. We turn to Lecha Dodi on page 138. Together at the bottom of page 145. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time. Even at unlikely times and through unlikely places, there is no place on earth without the presence.
Tushbechata Lemata Dami
turn to the Baruch Hu 146. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chochma poteach sha'arim, u'vidvuna mishanei itim, u'machalif et azmanim, u'misader et ha'kochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, Mabdil ben Yom ben Laila, Adonai Tzvaot Shemo. El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Li'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai, Ma'ariv Aravim. 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Standing on the parted shore of history, We still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Turn now.
Shabbat,
for the tefillah. Kadosh, B'Shimcha Kadosh u'Kadoshim B'chol Yom Ya'alelucha Selah, Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated as we turn to 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch Atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. 177. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us? You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch Atah Adonai, Hatov Shimcha, Ucha Na'el Hodot.
Tesim leholam Shalom Rav L'Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam Tasim Le'olam Tasim Le'olam.
Please take some time now for silent prayer and reflection.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, O God, my rock and my redeemer.
As we turn to the Mishaberach, our prayer for healing, on page 371, we should remember that 1 in 5 children in our nation is poor. Poverty exacts a terrible toll from our children, including hunger, health problems, and even early death. Children who were separated from their parents at the border suffered unimaginable trauma. And all across our nation, children live in fear of gun violence that injures and kills more than 40 children and teens every day. Tonight, as we sing the Mishaberach, may we pray for their blessings and healing. We think for those who are in need of healing as we ask, and we think may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all who are ill. Our thoughts turn to Shana Esther Bat Rachel, Steve Brent, Barbara DeCario, Evelyn Mitzner Wall, James Boyle, Batya Leah Bat Ethel, Beth Shackman, Thomas DeMatteo, Shalamit Bat Fruma Baruvain, Ira Coleman, Yeshaya Idel Ben Gittel, Bonnie Hughes, Karen Gimple, Rini Feingold, Mark Friedman, Elizabeth Friedman, George Okrent. Are there any other names anyone would like to share?
Elizabeth Swain, Sharon Mooney.
May the holy and blessed one be filled with compassion, for their health to be restored, their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them renewal of body and spirit. May God grant strength to them, their loved ones, and their caretakers. And let us say,
strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekorech habracha.
so wonderful when you have a theme Shabbat and the person in town who is most connected with that theme is actually a congregant, and he's the man. So it's my pleasure to invite up Larry Marks, the Executive CEO of the Children's Agenda of Rochester, to address us this evening.
Thanks, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So I'd like to thank Rabbi Katz for bringing me up to the Bima tonight, so we all can participate in this Children's Shabbat tonight. So I am here wearing 3 hats: as a congregant, as a parent, and also as CEO of the Children's Agenda. And tonight at Temple Sinai, we're joining over 75 different congregations, synagogues, mosques, churches, the Hindu temple, the Zen Buddhist temple, every major faith tradition throughout Monroe County to focus on the youngest members of the Rochester community. The designation of the Children's Sabbath in October was started 26 years ago by the Children's Defense Fund, a national organization that's totally wonderful, dedicated to defending the needs of children, the most defenseless members of our society. And we at the Children's Agenda picked up that tradition 8 years ago and have been spreading it out through Monroe County to create a moral voice and some political power behind children's issues. Our mission is to advocate for effective policies and drive evidence-based solutions for the health, education, and success of children, particularly those who are most vulnerable because of poverty, racism, health disparities, and trauma. I cannot think, I was reading in the snippets, Rabbi Katz saying this, but I can't think of another time when more advocacy is needed from more of us than right now. And voting, please don't forget to vote. There are so many issues of importance it really completely boggles the mind. And I think it's a natural reaction for all of us in the face of all those urgent issues to withdraw a little bit, to close down, to shut down, to take some refuge in the comforts of our own homes and families and our circle of loved ones. But children don't and can't really advocate for themselves. We have to do that for them. And the other thing is that kids can't wait. The baby, the infant, the 2 or 3 year old, their time is now. Their clock says today. And that's especially true for the issue I want to talk about tonight, which is kids who experience some kind of developmental delay, like trouble swallowing or gross motor skills or speech impediments. When a family or pediatrician thinks a child has a developmental delay of some sort, they seek therapy, such as speech, occupational therapy, counseling. The Children's Agenda did a recent study that demonstrated that chronic underfunding of these services is pushing out practitioners and providers in our community, creating a acute and growing problem, with many children waiting many months before they might receive help. One out of every 3 infants and toddlers. It's my daughter being here. Need to wait at least a month or more for services. And for worried parents or kids, that's completely intolerable and can cause a lot of lifelong problems. Jeez. So the cause of that is New York State's early intervention and preschool special education programs. They are reimbursing those providers, those professionals, at a ridiculously low rate. The rate has actually gone down since 1996. Those professionals are leaving their jobs to go work with adults, to go work at hospitals across the street, to go work with school-age children at schools that pay better. They're reimbursed $86 an hour. If just for inflation, that rate were to be the same from 1996, they'd be making almost twice as much, $151 an hour. And insurance companies are routinely denying that coverage. Because they know the state will pick up the tab. So everyone's passing the buck. 60 providers have gone out of business, 60, in New York State in the last 3.5 years. And in our community, Mary Cariola Children's Center, Rochester Child First Network, Stepping Stones Learning Center, the Clinical Association of the Finger Lakes have all gone out of business in the last 1.5 years. So what's that mean? So just quick notes. A feeding specialist at Step by Step Pediatrics told us that typically when a fragile baby comes from the NICU, there'd be a visit from the specialist the next day. Now families are waiting weeks, sometimes months, for that visit, affecting babies' weight gain and development. We had earlier a mitzvah day where some of you signed some letters to our state senators, and Joe Robach came a few months later to meet with us to talk about the issue. It turns out that when they had a 2-year-old in his family, their second baby arrived weeks early, and they were in agony about what to do, and really saved by an early intervention specialist who came to their home. Today, that premature baby is a 31-year-old attorney with a slight speech impediment. So I could go on with the stories, but we know that 75% of brain growth, 85% of intellect, personality, social skills develop before age 5. Some of us are still learning social skills and still learning. Luckily, our brains are still growing. But well-established brain research makes it really clear that in the first few years of life, that lays the neurological groundwork for the rest of their lives. There's 1 million neural connections made a second. Just think of that number, 1 million a second in babies. And yet developmental delays or disabilities, when untreated, interrupt that process. So the main thing to keep in mind when you hear these grim statistics is they don't have to be this way. I always say in my work that this isn't a law of gravity. This is not some kind of second law of thermodynamics. This is not fate. This is about choices we make and choices we don't make. So children's problems are by their nature, by definition, preventable. It's about the choices we make. And the only thing that children have ever needed since the beginning of time doesn't take rocket science. It's physical security, emotional security. It's a caring and loving adult in their lives. But the only thing that wavers in meeting that commitment of what children need is us and our ability to meet those needs. So that's why I'm here. In the back of the room tonight, in other Jewish synagogues and Saturday and Sunday in churches and the Zen Buddhist temple and elsewhere, there are letters to sign to the governor and to the heads of the Department of Health and Education to correct this. We're going to be taking those letters together with clergy, together with a number of other providers and parents with some incredible stories to tell, to meet with the governor's office to say, we demand that you change these reimbursement rates, to bring in more providers and to meet these needs. So we need your help. I could go on and on about the facts, but that's pretty much the issue. And really thank you for your time. And don't know what that noise is, but thanks for being here. Shabbat Shalom.
So in case you were wondering, Larry just does his job. He doesn't care. Yes, he cares very much. Another thing I should mention, I've been involved with the organization now for a number of years, and then I've sat on a committee, and then Blanche Fenster sat on it, and now Ron Newman is sitting on that committee. Each year, the Children's Agenda for this Shabbat, the Sabbath, picks one issue. There are many other issues involving children development and health, but if you focus on one, you can get something done. And there have been successes because of the voices we've raised and because of the reaching out to our local representatives and to Albany. And so changes have been made, and there's been some budget improvements over the years in various areas. So on your way out, please take a look. There's a fact sheet, and there's the letter to the governor, and so on. And please, if you can sign it, and if you believe in it, I'm not forcing anybody to sign it. And if you don't write it on Shabbat, come on Sunday, you can sign it. But it's something that we all can just do a little bit of our part to help this along. So since it's time for children, and we're thinking about children, I want to thank all our child advocates and our parents in this congregation who do this work, and even non-parents, to end poverty, to assure love and justice for every child, to come with their children, if you're here with your children today, and anyone who would like to come up on the bima. So I invite first all the children who are below the age of bar bat mitzvah, and any of the parents or the advocates to come up here. And I know who you are, so you can't hide back there. Come on so we can bless you. Larry, please come up too, because you're part of this. Blessed is the parent, blessed is the advocate, blessed is the child, when their hearts are turned to one another. Blessed is the home filled with gladness and light, the spirit of Shabbat. And God bless you and guide you. Seek truth always, be charitable in your works, just and loving in your deeds. A noble heritage has been entrusted to you, your children. Guard them well. May you all be blessed, and may all our children be blessed with wholeness, health, and peace. Amen. We now turn to our Aleinu on page 586. The way we do it here is we do the second paragraph on 586, then we turn to 588, and then 591. Please rise.
Moshe v'karu b'shamayim imah,
ולבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים עמך, ועל הארץ מתחת עינות, ונאמר באדוני למלך כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We think now of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. The Shabbat, we remember the yard sites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Sidney Albaum, Harry Blum, Ethan Diggory, Joseph Dubin, Margaret Jerby, Anna Goldman, Louis Golub, Joseph Gorin, Paul Hansman, Morton Hare, Jacob Katz, Ralph Katz, Sophia Katz, Lois Koff, Fanya Lemberskaya, Hyman S. Levin, Horace Lembersky, Belle Lobenheim, David Namias, Irving Norrie, Tamar Rogashevsky, Beatrice Rose, Ruth Rose, Isabel Rosenblum, Ray Rubel, Leonette Rubin, Julie Rutberg, Esther Schwartz, Stephen Schwid, Vanya Shablaya, Jacob Thomas Scheidlower, Igor Sopozhnikov, Jan Stam, Natalie Evelyn Teagarden, Jay Walsh, Janice Whiteman. Are there any other names anyone would like to share of recent deaths or yard sites? Zichronam Livracha, may their memories all be for blessing. The Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalmad yivrach v'rutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalav v'zman kariv yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach v'yalam v'almei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kudusha b'richu. La'ela bin kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran v'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom v'romav. V'yah aseh shalom. Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael. V'yal kol yoshvei tevel. V'yimru amen. May God, who creates peace in the heavens above, let peace descend on us, on all Israel, and all humanity throughout the earth. And let us say together,
Amen.
please be seated. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I want to welcome everyone this evening, and I just want to say, I'm a nudnik sometimes. I like to make sure things are happening, so I always have 2 copies of the announcement in case the speaker steals some of my announcement sheets in his seats. You have some of my announcement sheets. But I have my copy. You can have that as your pay, as your reward. First, I want to thank Larry for being here and sharing. The work he's done in this community is tremendous, and my hat is off to you. And I know you have 3 hats, but we really respect what you do, and thank you for doing it. I want to introduce our greeter for tonight, Gabe Geiger. Stand up, Gabe. Gabe is here to greet you and answer questions if you have questions about the congregation. So one of the things we do here is we turn to each other. We try to seek somebody we might not know. If there's anybody near you, introduce ourselves and wish somebody a Shabbat Shalom. tomorrow morning at 9:15 we have Torah study, and then at 10:30 Saskia Owen will become a bat mitzvah. Mazal tov to you and to your family, your parents, and your brother, and all the other family that's coming to celebrate. Sunday, the 21st, adult ed is in session, and there is no adult Hebrew class. There's regular school, though. Wednesday, the 24th, our Women's Chavurah is having their program at Jiva Theater. Next Friday, the 26th, 6:45, we do have Shmuz and Shabbat, and then Erev Shabbat service at 8 o'clock. Saturday, the 27th, Torah study, and then at 10:30, Aiden France, son of Carol Levy, will become bar mitzvah, and then the afternoon at 5:30, Caitlin Wagner, the son of Stephen and Stacy Wagner, will become bar mitzvah. We want to offer a mazel tov to Greg Herman on his marriage to Bridget Doherty, and to Greg's parents, Joyce and Bob, who are here tonight. We're so happy for the whole family. For those of you who've ever been to Rockin' Shabbat, you know Greg, or if you know Greg in other settings, so we just wish them all the best. We want to remind people, in case we have that new Tat Shabbat program, which is an interactive service, arts and crafts, and other fun activities for children. Check the temple calendar and the website. All sessions have been moved to Saturday mornings. Originally we had some other thoughts, but Saturday morning seems to be the best time. We want to mention, if any of you would like to either sing with the temple choir for the special services coming up in Hanukkah, at the end of Hanukkah, we have a regular Hanukkah service and then a special choir Shabbat for Hanukkah with Cantor Braun. So contact her or the office, and if you just want to sing with them, let us know. We want to hold your ears. We want to remind you that we're installing Cantor Braun at a special service on the, and I don't have the date, but
November 16th.
They give me this thing, but they don't give me the dates. And so the service is open to everybody, but there is a registration for the dinner that night. And we want you to know that the Jewish Book Festival is going on, and there is a program called Nosh and Knowledge, casual conversations with leaders from our community. You can visit the JCC website for information both about the book festival and the Nosh and Knowledge. And I just want to mention this Monday on the 22nd, I'll be giving a talk about a visit to Italy, which I just came back from. But also I want to concentrate a little bit on how the many Jews were saved during the war, because there's some very interesting material I've read and learned about, and I wanted to just bring it all together. So that's this Monday, JCC at 12 o'clock, and then every day for the next 2 weeks, it looks like, or just about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Wednesday. Anyway, there'll be other leaders in the community giving talks. Saskia, come on up and let's do the Motzi together.
Eloheinu melech haolam, haaretz.
And we turn to page 625 for our closing song.
I don't know why. Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra lehet nasa v'hefza kol azay melech shemo nikra azay melech shemo nikra ve'aharei kiklot hato
rise for the closing benediction. And following the benediction, there are 2 places you can visit on your way out. One is the table to sign and get the information, and the other is the Erev Shabbat, which is sponsored by Josh and Marcia in honor of Saskia becoming Bar Mitzvah. Adonai Yishmerenu Yishmor Nafshenu. Adonai Yishmor Tzedtenu V'oein L'chaim L'shalom. Eternal God, watch over us, protect our very beings, protect us, protect our children, protect the most vulnerable amongst us, and grant us all life, health, and peace. Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Look at you go, Asian. Good job, buddy. Yeah, well, Sunday's teaching you, and tomorrow, like I said, I can.
So I think the it clearly wasn't the right one.
How you doing? Not too.
Yeah. Okay, so when you did this, instead of you did this, you did this line twice. You tried to get both words in. Then you did this line twice. You did this line twice. You did once with Moshe and once with Miriam. And then you did
The music is written.
what I would suggest is, yeah, is that you do it. And then we tried to get Moses and Miriam to do the same, and that was a little hard for you.
Right.
I mean, it was, you know,
Okay, I'll
but if you
look at
look at it and see if it
Look at the
works.
music.
Okay?
Yeah.
And just- It's a way that it can work.
Yeah, look at the music. See how it. Thank you.
Oh no, I'm off. This is it. Yeah. I appreciate it. No, I coach I train, I'm doing cross country now, terms, but I train kids throughout the day and I also coach.
I did go for it.
Yeah.
Remember the wave race? National.
Yeah. Sessions every Saturday.
Oh, okay. Where they run?
Midwest.
Yeah, I worked at this.
Oh, really? This is my first time